Welcome to the Screen and Toolbar Overview tutorial of the IDS software. In this tutorial, this will be a basic overview of the screen, the toolbars that surround the screen, how to turn the toolbars on and off, how to move the toolbars, and also we'll go over the view preferences. What you see on screen right now is my design workspace that holds an embroidery design. This is where we create the designs to be embroidered, and this is where we can alter the designs. So this big area right here is where we do most of our functions as far as the editing goes of the design. Surrounding the design workspace, you have multiple toolbars, and these toolbars each hold different functions that you can use within the software, as well as these toolbars can be moved around, docked differently, and arranged to your preference. In addition to these toolbars, you have a main menu bar at the top. The main menu bar at the top have different headings that you can access, and you'll see here at the top these headings are very similar to other computer programs that you may have, such as File, Edit, View, Create, Stitch, Accessories, Window, and Help. Within this main menu bar, all of the headings stay the same except for Stitch up here. Depending upon the different view that you may be in, this heading will change or rotate. Each of these headings hold different tools within the software that you can also access through your icons on your toolbars. But Stitch will rotate depending upon the view that you are currently in. Now each view holds different tools that you'll be able to access to change the design itself. The toolbars that surround the design workspace do have bars on the toolbar that allow you to move the toolbar as well as dock or float the toolbar. The line that precedes each toolbar will be kind of 3D'd so that you can left click, hold, and drag it into your design workspace. If you do drag it into your design workspace and let go of your left click, it will float within your design workspace. Now if you'd like to grab this toolbar and move it elsewhere, you can take the heading, left click, hold, and drag and dock it into another area surrounding your design workspace. These toolbars, as they move, and if you'd like to move it to the right or to the left, they will turn vertical, and the vertical ones will turn horizontal. I'm just going to bring this toolbar back into position, and you can also see that with these different toolbars, as you float them or move them into your design workspace, it does show you the heading of that toolbar. Within our standard toolbar, we do have the New function, Open, Save, Print, Print Preview, Cut, Copy, and Paste, Undo with a history bar, Redo with a history bar, Import, and Export. The Open and Save function have to do with designs that are created in IDS, whereas the Import and Export function have to do with designs that are ready for the machine. That's what we refer to as stitch files. So take the standard toolbar, bring that back up, and dock that into my design workspace, or outside my design workspace. The next toolbar is my View toolbar. The View toolbar allows me to toggle between different views, between the View Outline, View Angle, View Stitch, View Embossed, the Edit Mode, the Stitch Sequence Bar. The Stitch Sequence Bar is turned on right now because the icon is depressed, and on the left hand side you will see multiple frames that represent the different areas of the design. These multiple frames represent the different stitch areas and show us when each area is going to stitch out. To turn this bar on or off, if you click on the Stitch Sequence icon, it will turn that off or turn it on. We have the Stitch Player, a 3D Stitch View, a Quick View, needle penetrations view, hide or view the image or the original artwork, hide or view your hoop, hide or view your canvas, hide or view your grid, the ruler bar, and the properties settings icon. The zoom bar. Within the zoom bar, you have multiple ways to zoom in and out. You can zoom by percentage, zoom in, zoom out, zoom 1:1 or a natural zoom at 100%, zoom all design, zoom selected object, zoom undo, and zoom redo. With the zoom undo and zoom redo, we have to keep in mind this is different than the undo and redo function up here. The undo and redo function up here on our standard bar will actually undo or redo steps within the design itself, such as changing stitch type, changing size, so on and so forth. Whereas these undo and redo button will undo your zoom views. So we'll take the zoom toolbar, and as with the zoom toolbar, I'm not going to put it back into place, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into a position where it's up out of my way, and I can actually make that design screen larger. Which also brings me to a point, if you do want to turn off a toolbar or leave a toolbar or turn a toolbar back on, if we go up to the View menu, under View, we have Toolbar. And within Toolbar, we have the different bars that are checkmarked or not checkmarked. The ones that are checkmarked are ones that are showing. The ones that are not checkmarked are not showing. So let's go ahead and turn those on just with a left click. And when I do left click on that, it will turn on those toolbars. Now you'll notice that the more toolbars that I do have turned on, the more space that I'm taking up in my design workspace. So my design workspace is getting smaller. The next toolbar that I have is my Sequin Bar. This is for digitizing sequins, or those small mylar circles that we see a lot of times on costumes and specialty garments. Within your sequin toolbar, you can change the sequin stitch type, the sequin properties, as well as the sequin shape. So we'll take this toolbar, go ahead and drag it up into our design, surrounding our design workspace, instead of having that floating. We probably can also fit it over here next to our zoom bar, which will allow us to keep it out of the way. The next toolbar is our name drop bar. In the name drop bar, this is where you have the function of doing multiple names for a design and have it be one design. This is for what we see a lot of when we're doing team names, or we're doing names for companies where we need to personalize every garment, and instead of doing 20 names in 20 designs, what we can do with this tool is actually do 20 names in one design. So we'll bring that back down to the bottom right hand side. And as you can see, as I'm moving these toolbars around, I'm making more room in my design workspace. On the right hand side, we do have the Create bar, and the Create bar allows us to bring in insert text, insert monogramming, insert an image, or insert from a Twain source. A Twain source is a scanner or a digital camera or anything that has a Twain driver. Beneath that, we have the ability to draw our own areas with stitches. We have different ways to create satin areas, a freehand line, freehand area, a continuous line, a rectangle or a square, circle or an ellipse, a true ellipse or a true circle, true arc. We have the ability to insert individual stitch points, a magic wand, which is our semi-automatic tool, and the generate button or the go button. The next toolbar is our punch bar. These also are different shapes that we can draw that will fill with stitches. A round corner rectangle or square, punch ring, rectangle, circle, or square. spiral, a star line, a sector or an arc, a crescent, a cross arrow, sun style 1 and sun style 2, and a heart. At the bottom of our screen, we do have an object toolbar. With the object toolbar, these are different ways that we can, or different tools that we can use to reshape even the vertical space, even the horizontal space, align left, align right, align top, align bottom, align vertical center, align horizontal center, mirror our design horizontal or vertical, rotate left 90 degrees, rotate right 90 degrees, rotate manually, group or ungroup, resize, and also super align. The next toolbar is our quick toolbar. Within the quick toolbar, we have options where we can quickly change the stitch type, quickly change the density, and quickly change the color that we are selected on, or the object that we are selected on. The next bar, which is below that, is our help bar. We do have a building block bar. The building block bar has multiple categories that you can choose from, just with these different tabs, and each tab holds different design elements that you can add to your design. To turn this toolbar on or off, you can just go to View, Toolbar, and Building Block Bar. Another way that you can turn toolbars on and off is to go anywhere surrounding your design workspace on a toolbar and just right-click on an icon. When you right-click on an icon, it does show you the toolbars as well, what is turned on and what is turned off. Below all the bars at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you do have a status bar. Now with the status bar, it does show you your stitch count, the position of your mouse, X and Y, the zoom percentage you're at, and the stitch size. The position area can change depending upon if you are in a different tool. For example, if you're in a rotating tool, as you're rotating your design, it will show you the rotation angle down here. So this can change or rotate depending upon which tool you're in. The status bar is actually not considered a toolbar, but if you go up to View on your main menu bar, the second option down is status bar. So to turn the status bar on or off, you can left single click on status bar. On the left-hand side of the screen, there is a color bar. The color bar will show you when each color will stitch out for each area. So in this design right here, white will stitch first, blue will stitch second, green will stitch third, light blue will stitch fourth, black will stitch fifth, and white will stitch sixth. So this will show you that the way this design stitches out in which colors. We also have ruler bars that go along the side and the top of our design workspace, and right now we are in the centimeter measurement. So this is showing us in centimeters. You also have an alignment tool right within here. This alignment tool is where the two toolbars meet, and you do have a gray bar, or I'm sorry, a gray square that if you left click, hold, and drag, move your grid lines where you would like them to intersect, let go, your grid will then match where you would like them to meet up. You also have scroll bars on the right hand side and the bottom of your design workspace to scroll through your design or to navigate through your design. In addition to the toolbars, you also have view preferences. To get to the view preferences in the software, if you go to View and then scroll down to View Preferences, when you get to the view preferences, you have different preference settings. In the preference settings, you do have 3 tabs at the top. One is a general tab, a Hoop Original Point tab, and a Canvas Setting tab. Within the General tab, this allows us to change certain things in the software, such as the autosave function, the measurement unit, and so on and so forth. With autosave checkmarked, our design will save into a temporary file folder every 5 minutes. In here you can turn that autosave on or off. You can also change the increment of time. The measurement unit. Any option in here to change to change settings, you can have it show in millimeters or inches. Just left click inside the radio button to show your measurement unit in millimeters or inches, whichever you prefer. Adjust to live size. This calibrates your screen. So with this, you can actually take a ruler, put it up against your screen, against the ruler on screen, and expand with the double arrows pointing to the right or the single arrows pointing to the right, or contract with the double or single arrows pointing to the left to match up with that ruler that you're holding. This will calibrate your screen so that you will be viewing your design at 100% when you do choose the option to zoom at 100%. The thread library. Within the thread library, you can choose to use the thread library at all and display the thread bar. Displaying the thread bar means that it's just going to show down at the bottom here. Whenever I'm using the thread library, I opt to choose all functions within the thread library option. And the reason is because if I choose ignore group, that means that it will show all the colors in the thread library. And also if I check mark this allows me to use color matching within the design. Here I can also change my thread manufacturer if I want to change it to a different thread manufacturer. Auto generate after punching in Stitch Property Edit. After I'm in my Stitch Property tools and press OK, that just means that it'll automatically regenerate. Another thing is that if I'm in my manual tools or in my semi-automatic tool, as soon as I'm done with that tool, it'll automatically put stitches in there. You can turn this on or off. If you do have it off, you will need to hit the generate button every time you make a change. Remove compensation in 3D view. With our pull compensation, this removes it in the 3D view because our screen has no pull compensation. I recommend that you change it to 0.2 and leave that on. Play shadow color has to do with our stitch player or our stitch simulator. This will show us the unstitched portions of the design when we are viewing it in the stitch simulator. The edit dialog box. Do not show the image edit dialog box for all images supported by IDS. With this check marked, this will bypass the edit dialog box for any image that is supported by the IDS program. Any image that is not supported by the IDS program does have to go through the image edit dialog box. The next tab at the top is our Hoop Original Point tab. This is where we can opt to show a hoop or not show a hoop, and also to choose which hoop we would like to show. We have the option to do a custom hoop or a machine hoop type. Within the custom hoop, you have the ability to change the width and the height, and again we are in millimeters, along with the corner percentage between rectangle and circle. At a completely 0%, your angles at the corners are going to be 90 degrees. If it's all the way to circle, all the way to the right, that hoop will either be a complete circle or an oval, depending upon your width and height. Within the width and height, you also have the 1:1 aspect ratio. And with the 1:1 aspect ratio checkmarked, if you change width, I'll just highlight, type in a number, it will automatically change height, and vice versa. With it deselected, I can change width and height independently. Then we have the option to choose a machine hoop type. If you choose a machine hoop type, you have all the different manufacturers that you can choose from. And with the plus sign next to the different manufacturers, you can expand that manufacturer and also see the categories within that manufacturer. Within these hoops, you have the ability to add a hoop, delete a hoop, or modify a hoop. If you would like to add a hoop or a hoop category under the Prodigy, If we left click on Prodigy, click Add Hoop, we can type in a category name, and let's say we have an oval hoop that we would like to add. With the display name, I can type in whatever display name I'd like, and I will just say 90 by 40 because that's the size of the hoop. I can give it a corner percentage. For this one, since it is an oval, I'm going to bring it all the way to the circle, and we'll do a width of 40 millimeters and a height of 90 millimeters. I do want to keep 1:1 aspect ratio off, so I'll press OK, and now you can see that that has been added underneath my Prodigy. Now this is built on a hierarchy, so if I do want, let's say I want to add a hoop within jacket back, I can always hit Add and add it in underneath jacket back. In addition to adding hoops, I can also delete hoops. Let's say I want to delete this hoop altogether, or this category altogether. I click on whichever I would like to delete, hit the minus sign, and it will actually delete it. So now if I go back down to Prodigy, you can see oval is out. If I'd like to modify any hoop, or modify the name of a category or the name of a manufacturer, I can click on whatever I'd like to modify and click the 3 buttons. When I click the 3 buttons, it allows me to change anything in the hoop section. Press OK, and once I do that, I've modified that. So now if I look at it again, it should have the changes that I made to it. Underneath this, we do have some other options. Within these options, if we do want to show the hoop on our screen, we must checkmark Show Hoop. This will then show us the hoop outline on our screen. With the original point, maximum work area, and hoop center, these all work in conjunction with each other. With the Design Auto Center, these are usually grayed out with the hoop center and original point. Automatically center, checkmarked, means that the program is going to automatically center your design either in Design Center or Bottom Center. With the Bottom Center, you do have a vertical offset that you can change. Most of the time, you will not want to change these original points or the hoop centers, along with the maximum work area. If you would like to see the original point or where that design is going to start and stop, you can checkmark Show Original Point, which will show us on screen. The last tab at the top is our canvas setting. Within our canvas setting, we can change the background color, grid, so on and so forth. To change the background color, I'll left click on the color button, and this is the background color of our design workspace. We do have the basic colors for the windows that come up, but if we click on Define Custom Colors, we can go in, we can change the color within all these different hues of color, and we can also change how light or how dark the color is. I usually like to choose gray, lighten it up a bit, and then press OK. The reason I like to choose gray is because a lot of times we have designs that have white in there, and we wouldn't be able to see our white stitching as well if our background color was the same color as our white stitching. Within the view color, this works with the maximum design work area, so I would just leave that as is. On the right hand side, we have the option to change the grid. We can have no grid at all, a dot grid, which would put a dot at each intersection point, or a line grid, which is what I have up right now. Within the grid setting, I can change the spacing. This is in millimeters, and I changed it to 12.7 by 12.7. That's about a half an inch, as 25.4 millimeters equals an inch. You can also change the color of the grid just by clicking on the color button, and I'm just going to use a basic white and press OK. With Snap to Grid checkmarked, that means that when you move an object or when you're using your manual punching tools, it will snap the point or snap the object to the closest grid intersection point. So you can checkmark that to put it on, or to turn it off, you just make sure that's blank. Use Canvas. Use Canvas, when I checkmark this, this allows allows me to see a canvas or a fabric in the background. If I do choose a canvas, I can also change the RGB values, or the red, green, blue values of the canvas. I can also add, delete canvases, or scan directly in to the program a canvas. The stitch properties. The stitch properties are at default. I'll leave them at default and we'll press OK. When I do press OK, you'll see some things change on my screen. And with this, I will zoom out so we can see this a little bit better, because I do want to show you that I did choose a big hoop for this design, but you can't see that hoop on my screen. So let's go back to 1-to-1, and when we click on 1-to-1, it does bring us back to 100%. One thing that you can see on here is that you can see my fabric background, my grid is changed to white, and also in my design you see a green triangle and red cross. This is showing the center point of my design, or where that design is going to start and stop. Now the design may not start and stop stitching in this point, but may start, move, stitch in one position, stitch out, and then as it gets to the end it will move back to the center. Now there are options to turn these preferences on and off just on the fly, and again we'll zoom out so we can see the hoop. But at the top of our screen on our view toolbar, we have an icon that looks like a wristwatch, or actually a machine hoop, with an X through it. This is hide or view hoop. Check mark that, or left click on that. When you left click on it, it will turn the hoop on or off. The next one is hide or view canvas. When you left click on this, this will turn the canvas on or off. And then the last one, the hide or view grid, if you left click on that, that will turn your grid on or off. So that is your quick overview of the toolbars as well as the view preferences.